Hello and welcome to the demo for the preservation team. This is for Sprint 7. Today is November 17th, and I'm Naomi Duche.
Do this, so.
You can mute, you guys. And I'd like to show you our progress. This was a 1-week sprint. So one of the things we accomplished this week was we finished implementing all of the checks in the Moab validation gem, and to demonstrate that, here I am running the specs we have for these tests. You'll note that in particular under the data directory, the content and metadata directories are now checked to see whether or not they have files, and we can also have that the content directory is optional. So our checks are ready to go as far as we know. As far as seeding the catalog goes, we have done some wonderful documentation explaining how to run it. And we did one run this week on our smallest storage root just to see where we were. So in this run, it took 15 minutes, which was a third of the time of previous runs, but it's unclear exactly why, what changed to make it so fast at this time, but we'll be happy if that holds. Given that we hooked up the Moab validation and the profiling, we got some new data. We just finished making the content directory in Moab's optional. That is required because otherwise we end up with stats like this, where we have the vast majority of Moabs look like they're invalid. But this ran, and we can even see we have some profiling hooked up that we use this time. We can see where it's spending the most time computing. So if we have a performance problem, we know where to target our efforts. In terms of how we're doing in our objectives, this is our overall to production checklist. So we've marked that the Moab validation is deployed to stage because we would like to do a few runs and make sure we don't bump into any other types of invalid Moabs that we need to tweak the validation code for. The Druid to directory has been coded and hooked in, so that's wonderful. Seeding the preservation catalog, we've got the rate task, we've got everything set. We started on the documentation, and we're starting to do some runs to figure out exactly where we are. We also have this more detailed list about where we are with the to production checklist. So I was just updating this before the call. You can see most of the things are now at least in an in-progress stage, and we may have further updates to this very soon. Things were very late breaking last evening. This is the sort of the checklist for the next milestone, coming after the one we're working on now, but you can see we've made some really great progress here as well. One of the things that happened this last week, I'm sure this is a little small to see on your screen, but this whole area of this diagram got revamped to show the seeding as separate from the first audit check we're implementing, and which operations it's calling and their relationships to each other. And now we have the Moab validation in the diagram, which is helpful. The seeding got its documentation in a README, so that's terrific. So now it's not just a secret that only the developers working on the code know. And I already showed you our stats. So that concludes our demo, except for I would like to mention that we have got some fantastic progress working on rolling back, having our database calls in transactions that get rolled back because we update 2 different table entries in the work we're doing now, and they're sort of paired together. So we'd like to be able to roll things back together when a database update fails. This concludes our demo for Sprint 7. We will see you soon on our next sprint. Thank you.